Welcome to Rise. You are in the right place. Today, I want you to imagine yourself with someone that you love, your beloved, your child, your friend, and they're telling you a story of what they did and how happy they felt. But you may as well be watching paint dry. You just can't access your emotions. They're talking and nothing is going on inside. No feeling. You can't access that. Welcome to the world of emotional numbness. Today, we're going to dive in and talk about this condition and the most powerful antidote to numbness is joy. And it's not just this silly, superficial, fuzzy, warm, idiotic concept of joy. It's hard, scientifically backed neuroscience that explores how joy combats numbness, adds color to our world and our relationships. And in this video, we're going to talk about numbness, how to treat it, and how to use joy to transform your life. Welcome to the emotional renaissance. So numbness is a grayness, it's a flatness, it's an inability to feel feelings. So if you're watching this, probably you have a good idea of what numbness is. The world feels flat. People don't move you. Art doesn't move you. Music is just boring. Things are just so zero. There is no positive, there's no negative. It's just existing and it's drudgery. So it's interesting that numbness, this quality of numbness, can exist in a lot of different areas in our lives. And we can't neglect that there are medical areas where numbness is a major component. We see it in depression, we see it in PTSD, and we also have a specific condition called alexithymia. In people who have alexithymia, they just have a difficult time distinguishing emotions from bodily feelings or recognizing emotions. And we're going to save that for a different talk. Today we're going to talk about the numbness. Anhedonia is the medical term. Anhedonia. We're going to talk about that which accompanies depression. It's a major symptom of depression, and it's also a major symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, or attachment issues. It's just a flatness. So it's interesting that numbness is so pervasive, and there are ways to beat it. We often go to therapy or see a psychiatrist to talk about our pain and talk about how blah our lives are. And that's really critical. It's really important to name what happened, to think about our lives and the narrative and what happened to us to get us into this place. But at the same time, it's very critical at this point to also imagine ways where our life wasn't this blah, wasn't this flatlined and empty, because those steps out of the hole, how did we get happy, how did we feel joy, are just as important. So when you go and you get medical treatment, like when I work with patients who come in, one of the most important things they can tell me is that they don't have any feelings. They don't care if their daughter graduated kindergarten. They don't care if they're happy or sad. They're just existing, and often they get to this place because of extreme stress. I mean, they're burnt out. Life is difficult. Paying the bills, going to work, attending to everybody's needs. It burns people out. It can burn people out to the place where there's a serious depletion of neurochemicals, like dopamine, like serotonin, like norepinephrine. It can get to a serious point where it's just overdrive of cortisol, where a person is go, 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 and the go has burnt out any other sensation. In fact, the go isn't even there anymore. It's just anhedonia, and that can come from chronic stress and PTSD. So the etiology, how we get to numbness, can be from different pathways. But the overall numbness is a lack of certain neurochemicals like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Also, it's an overdrive of cortisol, leading to burnout, stress, and all kinds of physical symptoms from indigestion to hair loss. And then it's also a situation where our neural circuits are involved. And you can look at fMRIs, which are brain scans of people who have been under chronic stress or are depressed, and you will see a decrease in the wiring of their frontal lobes to their deep limbic structures. It's just not a pretty picture, I mean, metaphorically, but there's just an underperfusion. It's not working in harmony. The brain circuits have been overwhelmed, and in depression, the overwhelmness of the circuitry can lead to neuronal bluntness. They just don't communicate anymore. So we need to rewire our connections. We need to re-inspire ourselves and feel joy again. So as a psychiatrist, I approach this anhedonia from a medical perspective, but I also approach it from a life perspective, from a holistic perspective on what gives us joy. So we can treat anhedonia by treating depression, by treating PTSD through different modalities involving psychotherapy, TMS, medications, and even ketamine. I mean, right now I remember getting to this point, I dissected different human brains, and there's a area of the brain in the midbrain, and that's the limbic system. The limbic system is associated with emotions and emotional regulation. And there's this structure called the habenula. We've got two habenulas, and they're situated in the midbrain right above the thalamus. This habenula in adults, it looks like an edamame, all right? It's a really important edamame, and it deals with giving our feelings volume, with coloring our lives, with emotional regulation. So the lateral habenula is really involved in that. And I'm really excited about how people are studying this structure and finding ways to help people with depression and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, rewire that area. And there are ways we can do that with ketamine, and that's a topic for another video. But medications, psychotherapy, TMS, properly done ketamine therapy, all work to treat the medical aspects of anhedonia. But here's the kicker, there are some other ways to get there that are just as important as the medical issues. It's not like you're forcing yourself to feel joy, feel joy, feel joy, and then taking a medical route and then joy happens. It's kind of getting your brain in this position where it's ready to feel joy. Joy is an emotion that's been evolutionarily held onto. It's good for us. The brain wants more of it. So when we can recognize what gives us joy, what takes us to that place, without destruction or without catastrophe, what is a productive state of joy, when we discover that and when we prime our brain for that, we're on to something transformational. So at this point, I want to really emphasize that joy is a special wisdom. It is your wisdom that informs you that you're living well, and your brain wants to do that. We have all kinds of mechanisms in place that make us do that, but we're also made of flesh and blood, and we have genetic components, psychosocial components, relational components, intergenerational trauma that impacts the way that joy is expressed in our lives. So I think it's important that we know about the biological and the medical, but also stuff that we can do on our own. And this is almost a call to action, guys. What can you do in your life to make you more primed for joy? So, are you ready to think about joy as an antidote to numbness? I hope so. So, here are 5 different ways to create opportunities to feel joy. Because it's not about forcing joy, it's about allowing joy to emerge in your life. Because it is hardwired in our brains as human beings to have this. So let's get the wiring reconnected and flowing again. And these are 5 ways. Number 1 is gratitude. I am grateful to be breathing. I am grateful for the sky. I am grateful for my hands. I am grateful for my relationships. I am grateful for being here right now. I am grateful for my ability to do this. I mean, go on and on. Make it happen. Make your gratitude happen. It's there. There are small, beautiful things to be grateful for. Find them. Number 2, your senses. Engage your senses. Look at beautiful sunsets. They're free. Smell roses. Go to a department store and go on a smell date with yourself. Smell peony, rose, violet, patchouli. Go and smell and see what it evokes. Use touch, get a massage, have a foot rub, taste. Well, and that might take some time. It's a journey because remember, when you're numb, it's not right there. Well, it's a journey to getting our senses back on board. Number 3, this is a hard one. When we're numb, it's really hard to reach out to people. But so often, people give us joy. I'm not advising to go to a relationship you've been struggling with, or someone that's been hating on you or envious of you. Looking for opportunities to meet people to, re-engage with joy isn't easy, and it takes courage. Sometimes that can be your therapist, or somebody like a teacher, or somebody who works at a store that, just smiles and makes you feel good, like your barista. Those kinds of small things can build. It doesn't have to be a difficult relationship. Please don't start with that. Start with the small stuff. Smiling can go a long way. Then, number 4, our brain loves novelty. Try something new. Go to a different type of movie. Drive down a different route. Walk on a different path. Explore novelty. It can be really simple novel things like trying a different flavor. But it's novelty, and your brain doesn't really have a scale that you're skydiving or deep sea diving, but it's new. And that starts a process. That starts the joy process. And it takes time. I'm going to remind you again. And then number 5, movement. Move your body. Roll your ankles. Roll your wrists. Stand up after hours of sitting. Bend. Move your body. It wants to move. And just initiating that can be difficult, I know. But when you start doing that regularly, it rewires your brain. It reinstitutes the pathways that want to feel good, that lead to joy. And again, it is a journey. Have patience with yourself. Engage with people that support you on this journey. Because the beautiful thing is that the brain adapts. It wants to feel. Your brain is wired for joy. I mean, your brain is hardwired for joy. So let's explore that. Let's get on that journey. I'm going to encourage you to explore that, to think about these 5 simple behavioral things you can do to begin feeling joy. Because joy is the antidote to numbness. Because joy is a special wisdom. And because joy is a part of the human experience. Please subscribe, please like, and come back again to rise.